You have the agenda before you. Item number 2 is the approval of the agenda. What is the wishes? Moved by Lauren. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Patty. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 3, business arising from the minutes. Mariner Center board members from April 25th. I think we had asked staff to find, did we not? Exactly who, and it was in our, did I see an email to that effect? That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah, we're still waiting for the information.
Yeah, okay, that's what I wasn't sure of it when I went through it, and I haven't gone back into my emails to refresh. Can we have that moved to our next committee of the whole? Is that agreeable? The Mariner Center? Okay, so done. Item number 4 is presentations. Our first one, 4.1, YASTA, Neil McKenzie, Organization Strategy Plan. Neil, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you, Warden Anthony. I'm going to just quickly go in reverse here and start where I should be starting in my presentation. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me come present to you today. Everybody can hear me okay? Hello, everyone who's watching on Facebook Live. For those of you who don't know me, I think everyone here obviously knows me, but those that may be watching at home, I'm the Executive Director for Yarmouth and Acadian Shores Tourism Association, and my name is Neil McKenzie. So I would like to start start today with a short video, but we have been having some technical issues with playing the video, so I'm going to skip that in light of that and move on. So this was a fantastic video, but you'll have to see it later. So sorry about that. So before I talk about our plans for 2018, I'd like to look back a little bit at some of the tourism performance indicators for 2017. In 2017, Nova Scotia tourism industry had its best year in history and its 4th consecutive year of growth. In all, a record 2.4 million visitors came to the province in 2017, and tourism revenue in 2017 is estimated at $2.7 billion. Nova Scotia also welcomed an additional 195,000 non-resident visitors in 2017, and this was an increase of 9% over when compared to 2016. Increases in visitation were also observed in both road and air, 7% road increase and air 13%. In 2017, licensed room nights sold in Nova Scotia totaled 2,760,000 and increased by 2% compared to 2016. The occupancy rate increased by 3% to 55%. Also in 2017, licensed room nights sold, and moving on to Yarmouth and Acadian Shores now. So we were taking a bit of a provincial snapshot there. Now we're moving on to our smaller region, and we're just talking about Yarmouth and Acadian Shores. And when I give you the numbers here on Yarmouth and Acadian Shores, I'm referring to the entire region, which includes Clare. However, please recognize that the 4 main hotels that pay into the levy account for over 90% of the room nights sold in the region. But these are provincial numbers for our region, so they do count rooms sold in Clare as well. In 2017, licensed room nights sold in Yarmouth and Acadian Shores was 68,000, and this was an increase of 4% when compared to 2016. And you'll notice that's an addition that's over the amount that the province, so we're tracking better than the province with regards to that. The occupancy rate, meanwhile, increased by 2% points to 47%, and the room levy itself, which collects $2 per room night sold in the town of Yarmouth, had its best year since its inception. Total room nights sold in Yarmouth, but for the Yarmouth room levy group, was up 4%, and the average daily rate, which means the revenue per room, so the demand for the rooms is greater, and so our operators are able to charge more per room per night, which is good because there were times, if we all remember, when they weren't able to charge much for them at all. So they're able to generate more revenue for the same room. That was up 6%, and revenue per room was up 13% when compared to 2016. The provincial tourism metrics and numbers being recorded within Yarmouth and Acadian Shores clearly demonstrates that our region's tourism industry is growing. We are very pleased to see this continuing trend and plan to continue to build on the growth by facilitating tourism product development and marketing. Moving on a bit more now, for the last 2 years, Yarmouth and Acadian Shores Tourism Association has participated in digital marketing campaigns, and talking about marketing now, in partnership with Tourism Nova Scotia. The 2017 digital marketing campaign surpassed the 2016 results, and we were successful in generating over 1,900 referrals to operator sites and over 580 to ferries.ca. So when we talk about a referral or a conversion, when we measure referrals and conversions on our website by the process, if we can attract, so you're surfing the web, you're looking for vacation ideas, you happen to search for some of the terms that we've purchased. We've purchased things like ferry to Nova Scotia, camping in Nova Scotia, Acadian culture. If you're searching for any of that content online, we will serve you up ads that will then hopefully you'll click on, and that will drive you to our website, which then we would then hope that you would then click on one of our operator sites and go off to their site and either book a room, book a campground, book an experience, etc. If that happened, that process, we would consider that a conversion or a completed sale, because we're not actually selling on our website. We're driving that traffic to our operator site. So that's how we measure conversions, and that's the metric we use. Last year was the first year we actually were able to do that within our analytics, and we were pleased that we were able to do quite a few to our direct operators in our region. We see that's our job to do that, so we were pleased with that. We're continuing on with that this year. The digital ads are rolling now, as well as display ads. You may see some of that on Facebook or Instagram if you're online. Sure.
May I ask a question at this time? Who does all of this, I'll call it support work, or this kind of design, Neil? Do we do that in-house for the website and so on?
Yeah. The only thing I can't do with the website is there's certain pieces of the website that are uneditable, and I'm working on figuring out ways to edit them because the cost to do that is too much. Is that better? What was happening? Okay. So we do all the design work in house. We don't print our print collateral, but our guides which are done both in French and English, and the website is French and English. Everything, yep. So last year, as part of our campaign, still talking about our digital campaign for 2017, as part of the campaign, we also ran Facebook targeted ads. So again, targeted ads are, you may have had this happen. So Gerard is on Facebook, imagine Gerard is on the internet and he's looking for a table saw. And he's searching online for a table saw, and then he goes to decide to check his Facebook feed, and the next thing you know, he sees ads for Milwaukee drills or other things that are related to his search. So that's called retargeting. So a pixel actually follows his IP address online and will now serve him up content that we have determined he may be aligned with. So that's called retargeting or remarketing. So we're engaged in that. So again, kind of the same situation. If somebody's looking for vacation, if they're looking for content related to Nova Scotia or things that align with our brand, we're going to serve them up ads in an effort to try to attract them to click on that content, bring them to our website, and then off to our operators' pages. So a piece of that is doing what we call display ads. So when that content is served up to you on Facebook, we would consider that a display ad, because that contains usually an image or a video. Video works really well. It creates more engagement. And last year, as part of our Facebook videos and views, we were able to do achieve 12,000 video views in New England. And we had 28,000 in our Canadian markets, which is Ontario and Quebec, and also the Atlantic Canada, but we weren't doing display ads in Atlantic Canada. And Yarmouth and Acadian Shores Facebook ads reached over 175,000 people in our targeted markets, which is New England, Ontario, Quebec. Looking forward now into 2018 and talking about some of our marketing, this is a new image we actually achieved last year through our Inspiring Content program. This is the Village Historique de la Nouvelle-Écosse in Argyle, in Pubnico. And this is some of the quality images we're able to use and use in our marketing each year moving forward. We would consider this one of our digital assets that we continue to build. So our quality videos, quality photos, all these things are used to compete in the really competitive market online to try to attract visitors to your site. So really like this image. So I'd like to speak a little bit about promoting our destination to potential visitors. Yarmouth and Acadian Shores targets in key markets in the US, Ontario and Quebec, and Atlantic Canada, as I've already mentioned. And we're only able to reach these key markets through strategic partnerships that enable us to extend our market reach and impact. For 2018, YASTA will be partnering with ACOA, Bay Ferries Limited, Experience Acadie, Tourism Nova Scotia, Tie-ins, and Tuscan Ford, just to name a few. And of course, YASTA will be partnering with our local tourism operators on a project-by-project basis. Forging strategic partnerships not only allows YASTA to compete in our markets we would not normally be able to reach, but also leverages our partners' investment, such as yours, to deliver more return on that investment. YASTA will be participating in the following marketing efforts in 2018. So, online marketing. Our goals for online marketing are to create online awareness for the Yarmouth and Acadian Shores region using video and social content promotion, support the awareness tactics. We will do this with search marketing, which I kind of already mentioned. So that's Google keywords and search. And like I said, those are already running. And for those who to become aware can easily find out more and act. So we want them to actually click on an ad and come to our website. For our online marketing includes managing our digital content and creating engaging digital content for use on the following marketing channels. So YarmouthAndAcadianShores.com, of course. We've installed some new stuff on that site this year. NovaScotia.com, Ferries.ca, DiscoverAcadie.com, Facebook, of course, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and we also do some email blasts and email marketing. YASTA will also be participating in online marketing campaigns that will include partnerships with Experience Acadie, Google Canada, and Tourism Nova Scotia, and potentially a campaign with Bay Ferries as well. Things have shifted a little bit at Bay Ferries with some of our partners there, but we're still hoping that things are going to work out best from a marketing perspective. I'll still full steam ahead for the schedule for June 8th. So. The digital campaigns will use proven tactics, including Google search keywords, Facebook and Instagram display ads, and YouTube pre-roll ads. So pre-roll ads are things like when you go to YouTube and you click on a video and you have to suffer through that 15-second ad in the beginning. Well, those can also be targeted as well. So again, if you were looking for table saws online and then you go to YouTube, we're going to start serving up you that content. So it's the same kind of thing. So. As always, YASTA will be working with the partners such as Tourism Nova Scotia and Experience Acadie to develop new digital content to populate these online channels with new and engaging content. The content will include new photography and video. Last year, in partnership with Tourism Nova Scotia and in the Inspiring Content program, we were able to capture this amazing image of the Yarmouth waterfront. We're very pleased that this image has been chosen as one of the covers of Doers and Dreamers, the French version of Doers and Dreamers. Guide for 2018, and I think this is a really good segue and a really great example of why investing in digital content needs to be continue to be one of the priorities of YASTA, because we can actually make we can score big with situations like this. When you produce good content, it often gets shared and it gets recognized. So I think Doers and Dreamers is approximately $8,000 a page. The English version is, and so YASTA's paying nothing for this cover. This is we paid for the image to be created last year, but that was a 50-50 partnership, and not every destination gets to get on the cover. So Yarmouth and Acadian Shores is lucky because we've been on the cover of Doers and Dreamers. The first year I got here, I think, was in 2013. I think we had the Yarmouth Light on the cover of the English Guide. I think there was a couple sitting in on a bench staring into the sunset. And then this year we're on the French, so I think we're doing pretty good, and we're really pleased to see that happen. In addition to all these, we will also be implementing a new system on our website called CrowdRiff. So CrowdRiff allows us to utilize user-generated content and, among other things, increase the amount of time visitors spend on our website. Moving on here, I'm conscious of time. Some other things we're doing and have been doing, this is obviously this year, Charles and I, in Boston Globe. This is at the Boston Globe Travel Show. We've also attended the AAA Boston show. We've been to Saltscapes as well, a really big show, and I'm heading to Rendezvous Canada on Sunday for 3 days, which is my first time at this show, and that's a really large travel trade media show that's going to be held at the Halifax Convention Center. So I'm excited for that one. in addition to Rendezvous, we're also going to the Portland Old Port Festival in partnership with Bay Ferry. So we've gone to quite a lot of travel shows this year, consumer and direct travel trade shows as well. So we're pleased that we're continually able to go to these things. And last year, for example, at Boston Globe, that was a partnership with Bay Ferries. So Bay Ferries paid the lion's share of the booth space, and then all of us kind of co-opted and paid in. And then we all kind of sold Nova Scotia together based on destinations. We did some cooking stuff last year too. This was the first year we actually took over the culinary stage. So we did creamed lobster one day, and in partnership with Laura Muse. We brought her down, and scallops, and it was 2 of the most busy days at the culinary stage. So people were quite impressed with it. They liked it. It's a really good way to reach people. Food, obviously, but it works, and it's a natural ambassador for Nova Scotia, right? So. We also produce content, print media, print marketing collateral, and Warden Anthony, you had mentioned that. So we produce co-op pages, and we also produce the content for doers and dreamers, both French and English. We produce the Yarmouth and Acadian Shores activity guide in French and English. We do that completely in-house. Trade show, lure marketing, and we also do some living wharves and music of the bay and other pieces of collateral as needed. One other piece of marketing one other kind of a branch of the marketing that we do is we work with travel media and social media influencers. So each year YASA works with the province and Bay Ferries to bring travel media and social media influencers to the region. We've also worked with Portland radio stations to bring radio personalities here as well and experience our region. This year we will be hosting travel media from Rendezvous 2018, which is a large convention. That's a post-media travel trip. And we are also going to do the Portland radio's personalities again too. So they're coming June 23rd and 24th. So we have an itinerary for them. How that works is they come here, they're producing content the whole way on the ship. While they're here, we have them all over the place. They're producing little snippets of content that goes on the radio. And then when they go back on Monday, all 5 radio stations in the Portland market will play content from Yarmouth and Acadian Shores during that period. So for a whole day in Portland, we take over 5 radio stations, and all the content that they have is content from our area. So that's partnership with Bay Ferries. So. Yep, and the Cat Ferry. So what they're selling is the Cat Ferry and Yarmouth and Acadian Shores. Yep. So we have them all over the place, and quite a pretty cool itinerary for them. So. We also facilitate familiarization tours, frontline staff, training for both Yarmouth and Portland Bay Ferries, and crew familiarization of tours of the region, which we did last year, which really went over well. Past social media influencers have included hectictravelers.com and delightfultravelers.com. Hectictravelers.com were, 2 years ago, were announced as the National Geographic's Travelers of the Year. So there's good coverage in working with travel media. My sense is working with travel writers has kind of gone away. It's more about travel media influencers and social media influencers, because you can control the content that they go after much better. This image here that we're looking at was captured last year and got quite a lot of shares, and through a social media influencer that we had worked with Bay Ferries. So it's good content. One of the other things we do is we do some visitor services. So we have a visitor information center on board the Cat Ferry. I don't know if any of you haven't been on the Cat. If you have, you may have seen the visitor information center there. So we hire staff and train them, and they work on in the VIC on the Cat. We have a captive audience for 5.5 hours, and we see this as a great opportunity to recommend itineraries to visitors that are coming across, kind of bless their itineraries. Direct them to other places, book rooms for them, help them determine experiences and attractions they should be going to in our region, and also try to convince them to come back earlier or stay again or extend their stay, all those things. So it's really good. As a partnership with Bay Ferries, this will be the 3rd year we've done it, and it's full steam ahead, so it's really been a good thing for that. There's a picture of Susan Huskins. She's a senior person in the Visitor Information Center. I don't know who that other person is. Just somebody that jumped in the picture. But we have some investment on the VIC that we did last year in partnership with ACOA as a program that we had ran. So we put some digital displays on board. So those displays are actually on the ship during the summer, and then in the winter we have them at trade shows. So they serve a dual purpose, and they work pretty good. We just cache all the websites. So camping.com or Camping Nova Scotia, novascotia.com, YarmouthandAcadianShores.com, and then if our visitor information person can't be giving them information, they're on those devices searching for information on their own. So it's worked out well. Another thing we do is we do a mobile VIC, we call this. So, and we kind of brand this as the Yarmouth and Acadian Shores Summer Escape. We've done this for a couple of years. And this year we're doing a different vehicle, and we're going to do some different stuff. We usually give away a prize at the end, and it's really an attempt to go where visitors are, go to events, make sure that the brand and region is recognized in these events, and that when there's visitors around, we take that opportunity to have our staff, again, try to convince them to go to other attractions, make sure they know about things. A lot of people may come here and they don't know about the Village, or they go to the Village but they don't know about Cape Frechou, or et cetera. So that's the opportunity for our staff to do that, and we counsel quite a few visitors with that, and it's does a kind of a cool social media buzz, that's for sure. So we're glad that this partnership is continuing, and look for the vehicle this year. Almost finishing up here, I just wanted to tell you about some new product and new experiences for 2018. So this one here, one of the initiatives that YASTA does is we undertake product development. So we work with operators to try to enhance their experiences or convince them to develop new experiences that align with what we know visitors are looking for. So you were there at the MS Fram on last Wednesday. So how many of them asked for lobster, right? Quite a few, right? That we know that, that's interesting, but we know that New England is surprising, but the market that is coming across in the Nova Scotia, certainly on the ferry, flying in, certainly, they're looking for seaside, they're looking for ocean, they're looking for lobster. They don't necessarily want to swim in the ocean, but they want to walk on the beach, they want to look for sea glass, they want to have seaside lobster experiences. So these are the experiences that Tourism Nova Scotia is pushing. And then, so in turn, we're pushing our operators to try to develop experiences that align with that too, because we know that Tourism Nova Scotia is pushing that content out better. We see that as the most lucrative way to get our experiences out there, is develop experiences that we know Tourism Nova Scotia is going to align with. So one of the new experiences we're doing this year, we're pleased to see, is under our Savor the Sea program with Yarmouth and Acadian Shores. We're going to be offering a harbor tour of the Yarmouth Harbor, in partnership with Tusket Island Boats Tours. It's going to be called Yarmouth Harbor Tours. It's about an hour-and-a-half tour, and then they take them to the Yarmouth Bar. They get off the boat. They have a seaside lobster dinner right on the dock there with local craft beer, fresh Nova Scotia local lobster, and vegetables and corn and potatoes and all these other things. They also have some access to wine, and there's even dancing and entertainment too. So. It totally aligns, and then they get back on the boat and go back to Yarmouth Harbor, back to the town of Yarmouth, and get off the boat, and that's their experience. So this one's really good because it hits on all those touch points that we know visitors are looking for. It also really aligns well with passengers, walk-on passengers on the Cat Ferry, because they don't necessarily obviously don't have transportation. Transportation is a bit of an issue here for us, so they can just walk down from anywhere in the town, get on the boat, and then have an experience like that too. So. We also have another Savor the Sea experience that we're doing at the Yarmouth Light this year with the Keeper's Kitchen. Basically, it's going to be a fish fry or a lobster roll, same type of thing. They're going to have access to local craft beer. It's scheduled. That's rolling all along too. So we're really pleased to see two new Savor the Sea experiences, one at the Yarmouth Bar and one at Cape Frechou this year. We've also enhanced our Music of the Bay and Living Wars program with some new designs and out-of-home marketing. And the foodie tour, the Yarmouth foodie tour that goes in the town, is operating an additional day today, this year. So they're adding a day due to demand, so that's good. And East Coast Paddle Company is actually offering a new experience called Paddle in a Pint. So they're offering that in the Tusket River in partnership with Tusket Falls Brewery. So you paddle on your stand-up paddle for an hour, and then you get off the paddleboard. Then you go have a beer. You're not drinking at the same time, obviously, but. Yeah, so that's a really cool experience, and they're also doing the same thing in the town of Yarmouth, paddle on a pint in the town of Yarmouth along the waterfront, and then go into Rudders and have a beer and some bites there. So that's a pretty cool experience.
Respect. Is that done by local companies, like the paddling and stuff like? I mean, that's.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So that's East Coast Paddle Company. Nancy Lucosta. She lives in Rennerton. So she's offering that experience, and of course, Lucien and Simon are both Wedgeport, and
yes.
Yep. And the Savor the Sea is TW Catering. Wayne and Teresa are offering that experience at the Yarmouth Bar, so that's good. This is some more photography we did last year. Actually, it was a really cold day, but it doesn't look too cold in that picture. But this is some marketing that we're going to be using for the Yarmouth Harbor Tours. So that's a new experience for next year as well. So again, that tour is going to run all week. That's a 7-day-a-week type of thing. But the Savor the Sea is Wednesday nights. That includes the lobster dinner. So. Increased other things that we've seen. Of course, Yarmouth and Acadian Shores can't take credit for creating craft breweries, but we can certainly leverage them, and that's some of the things we're doing with Yarmouth. There's a brewery tour. Basically, it's called Nova Scotia Beer and Wine Tours. They have a van, and they're local people, and they're going to be operating tours where you travel around in the van. They drive you around. They take you to each brewery. You do all your sampling, and then end with a lobster dinner either at Rutter's or at Jonathan Joseph's Argyller Lodge. It's another experience. So that's a new experience for the year, and we're really pleased to see that too. So our experiences keep growing, and it's one of the things that our tourism destination plan recognized, that we need to continue to grow our product because our area doesn't have as much product as other regions, like, you know, compared to Halifax, for example, or even the South Shore. So we need to continue to keep growing experiences and product in our area that visitors will have to do, so that they'll stay longer and will extend their stay. That's one of our goals. So, and lastly, I was going to be able to show you a really cool video of the Acadian Kitchen Party, which happens at the Argyller Lodge. We'll just have to be satisfied with this beautiful image of Lobster Bay here in the Tuscan Islands. But that is a seaside lobster supper, which includes Acadian music and dancing. People get to take part in the process and play spoons and eat local seafood, and this is a program that was developed through the accelerator program that Tourism Nova Scotia runs. So each year they offer a program where they will come down and develop some digital content for you. And if your product, it's an application process, and if your product aligns with the targets that they're trying to hit, they'll come down and help you develop the product. They'll create some marketing collateral, all at no cost, because it suits their needs too. It's creating product that Tourism Nova Scotia wants to put out there. They don't want to market product that they don't believe their market wants. But if operators in the province are going to create product that aligns with what Tourism Nova Scotia wants, they'll actually come in and actually spend money on their own and promote the product. So last year, the Acadian Kitchen Party was created, and we're really glad to see that roll out this year to market. And we're really hoping to. I'll make sure I send a 30-second video version of that to you. This is actually running on our display ads online now as well. So tell everybody about that. I am pleased to say too that we have this year I wrote 2 applications for accelerator program, and we've been approved for an accelerator program experience at the Cape Frechou called Lighthouse Bites and Starry Nights. So that's kind of the working title of the name. So we're going to have some marketing collateral and content similar to this for an experience at the Lighthouse. So yep, so we're really pleased with that. So again, growing more product. So that's it. I've probably gone over my time a little bit. I apologize, but I'll take any questions if anyone has any.
Councillor Cushion, go ahead.
Yes, Neil, I'm certainly excited about the new experiences that YASA has plans for this summer, and with the craft beer tours and whatnot. And look, sounds like we should have a very good active summer, especially when there's a lot of seafood being offered, and that's what people come for, right? Mm-hmm. So good opportunities. Great job.
Thank you. Yeah, we were surprising when they were getting off the MS Fram. That was another thing I didn't touch on, but we are in the small cruise market a little bit too. We're trying to develop that market. It's not as big as certainly the ferry and the other passengers that are coming, obviously, but there is an opportunity there, and it was a good test with the MS Fram that we had last week. But everybody, almost every second person was, I want lobster. Where do I get a lobster roll? I want lobster. So tourism supports the lobster industry. Lobster supports everything. So it's a great thing that they're doing that.
Councillor Durkee.
Thanks, Neil. I'm just so excited about all of the things that you in the Yasta group are doing. Very quickly, what was the response? Because from the people on the Fram at the end, I know that people went in lots of different directions, and many were travel agents. So, what kind of feedback did you get?
So I guess we had kind of two tiers of feedback. I've been doing some anecdotal research just in the meantime since the ferry has come in, or since the MS Fram came in. So I've been checking with our operators to see if they saw any impact from the passengers coming. And I checked with some coffee shops. Certainly, I know Rutter's had to have seen an impact. Some of the waterfront galleries on the waterfront had great days because everyone was interested in that. We tried to kind of push them around the community when we were there, and Warden Anthony will attest to this. We tried to say, okay, go to the farmers market, then go up on Water Street, take a walk there, go through the Heritage District. We tried to push them through the town and give them opportunities. Some of them had ideas where they wanted to go right away, but I feel the operators did pretty well. Some places didn't have 100 people obviously come, but most of the passengers were at most of the places in the town, which was great. So from that perspective, it was good. I did see a bunch of social media posts from actual passengers on the MS Fram, and they were all very, very positive. There was no negative stuff that I could harvest from any of the social media stuff. And we were also able to do a bit of a familiarization tour with some of the sales reps from the actual Hertican group, who are responsible to determine and actually develop experiences. So I've made a really good contact with that person, and we're going to be developing some new experiences for them. They're looking for Starlight. I was actually pitching them the whole concept of the Tuscan Islands and how, if we could, that's another thing that Tourism Nova Scotia wants to see is overnighting on islands. Up on the eastern shore, they're developing their wild islands up there for tourism, and I see us to be able to do the same thing with our Tuscan Islands as well. So I don't know if that answers the question clearly, but I'm kind of babbling a bit, but yeah.
It's okay.
I didn't hear anything from any operators that was negative, really. Maybe the only thing that may be negative was we didn't get as many as we thought, but I tried to set the tone with everybody to say, I don't know how many people are coming. They're all going to kind of wander, but I was actually quite pleased about how many there were that actually went into the town, because I was expecting maybe 20 or 30, and I think there was over 60 for sure, and that was good. And I know they were looking to spend, so that was a good thing.
And the tours went well?
Yes, the tours went well. So
Great.
yeah.
Councillor LeBlanc.
Neil, that was really good. You were talking about the island experiences there. Are you ahead far enough that is there reliability there for staying overnight, or?
Well, yeah, we're not. I've just kind of. We haven't been able to establish any kind of overnight on the Tuscan Islands right now. The only real experience that we can sell is the Tuscan Island tours, and that you do get to go on the island and explore and be in the shanties,
Right.
And listen to music and have some food, which is a great experience. But I would love to have a situation where I'd love to see, for example, the Tuscan Island tours. I'm kind of throwing them on the bus here, or any operator for that matter, offer some kind of overnight experience there that tied in Starlight.
It is
A dark sky experience, because that is what we know visitors are looking for. And certainly, the small cruise market, they're going to stay on the ship, but they might be interested in doing some Starlight experiences at night, certainly at the observatory, and then going back to the ship. And we know other passengers are looking for Starlight too. And that's one of our unique differentiators here, is what we can kind of say that how we're different from the rest of the province. Cape Breton has their Celtic culture and their living culture there. We have Acadian culture, and we have Starlight. We also have our seafaring history and our fishing culture that we're kind of going to build our marketing on. So
Yeah. Are you getting any feedback from the film, from the movie?
not much that I can see. I have been, we follow and listen on social media. We listen to anybody who's mentioning our region or things in our region, and they're mostly just like, selfies with some of the stars and things like that.
Oh, okay.
Where I see we can use that, leverage the movie is, next year in our marketing, or certainly our VIC staff, oh, do you know there was a movie filmed at that lighthouse? You have to go there. So let's just hope the movie is a hit, and then it'll really help, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Thank you.
Yep, welcome.
Excuse me, Councillor Allen.
All right, just a couple questions, Neil. You guys track the room nights. Do you track the campgrounds, like the site availability? Because I'm sure from Keji around, there's got to be thousands of sites. Does that get tracked?
Occupancy rates for campgrounds is tracked by the province because campgrounds are considered accommodations, or they're not fixed roof accommodations, but they are campgrounds are tracked, and I just didn't post them in that data, but I can get you that information.
No, I didn't need it. Just where you didn't mention it, I didn't.
No, I
you know,
think, yeah, I think you're right. Are you kind of talking about like the issue with occupancy with regards to campgrounds, like that?
Yes.
There's, yeah.
Well, I'm a camper, so I was just
Right.
curious. And same with like so the campgrounds, they get advertised the same way the hotels do as well through you guys.
Yep. All the campgrounds in our region are on our site. Yep. And
Okay.
we have photography and we promote them as well. Absolutely.
Super.
And our staff on the ship, there's quite a few people that come over, so we're recommending these places obviously for campgrounds. A lot of people know about campgrounds before they come. The campers seem to know where they're going.
Yeah.
But there are this is the odd person that's just going to come over. Oh, we're just going to do Nova Scotia, and they don't know where they're going to go. So
Okay.
it's an opportunity for us to recommend, which is again adding value. But I can say that anytime I'm with a provincial rep, so someone from Tourism Nova Scotia, or from the Department of Business, or Department of, I guess it's the Forestry Department. I don't know the Natural Resources. Thank you. I tell them how our provincial park needs more investment because the rest of the provincial parks in the province have had more, and that I know that their occupancy has increased because of it. The last time I was in a meeting with Tie-Ins, I'm a board member on the Tie-Ins board now, we actually had a presentation from Darlene McDonald and Michelle from Tourism Nova Scotia, and we had an opportunity to speak to them, and I spoke to them about how some of the things that we needed in our area for investment, things like, there needs to be more investment provincially at our Cape Verschoux. There needs to be more investment provincially at our Ellenwood, at Port Maitland Park. It's a shame that we have outhouses there rather than full functioning toilets and showers, and there's one spigot of water to wash everyone who goes to that beach. And when you look at other provincial beaches in the province, ours is just as beautiful, but the infrastructure to support it is not there. So I'm beginning to be a broken record with everybody that I get to talk to, but I am continuing to do that. And I did mention to Michelle and Darlene in our session that I said, I don't know if you were aware of this, but the provincial site crashed. Were you trying to book sites on that day too when the site crashed? Because I was trying to book sites for my family provincially for provincial parks, and the site crashed because of the demand to get sites. But I don't believe that demand is actually reflected in Ellenwood. And I believe that's related to the fact we don't have powered sites at Ellenwood. So the demand to go there isn't as high. But that's a simple infrastructure investment that the province could make that would add to some of our capacity issues we have in the summer. And also just getting people camping and staying here longer, because we know campers stay and they buy fuel and they do experiences and they go to coffee shops and they do all the things we want them to do. So I want to see more provincial investment in those simple things,
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, Neil.
Yep.
Councillor Cushing.
Thank you. A good topic that you were on there. How can we as council help push this provincial park thing along?
I think we can continue to, you can speak to the MLA and tell them that it's a priority. It can be made a priority. We can partner with Nova Scotia Parks. Some of our trails need work as well. Councillor LeBlanc brought up some issues with the Chebogue Meadows that I think a resident had brought up to you, and the other provincial park trails, some of them need work. Some of them are great. So I think we just need to continue to push with our representatives and tell them that we want to see that investment here.
Okay.
For example, there's no powered sites in any provincial parks south of Rizzers.
Well, that's.
But every park in Halifax has one. Every park in Cape Breton has one.
That's very unacceptable.
I agree. It's unacceptable.
So,
yeah.
Okay. I think
So,
that
and that's
should be a
something I think we
priority
can sink our
about
teeth into and just start,
Yeah.
making some noise about, because that's something that you don't need to do a study. You don't need to do anything to make that happen. You just need to go put it in and invest some money in it and make it happen, right? So.
it. Thank you.
Yep.
Deputy Warden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Neil. You made a comment that I was going to make about that there's no powered sites south of Rizzers Beach, and one thing I do have to say is Councillor Durkee has been a very strong proponent of making sure that the facilities in the Port Maitland Beach area are improved, and absolutely things like that. We have some of the most beautiful beaches, underutilized beaches in Canada, as far as I'm concerned. So
So,
Anything that we
yeah,
can do to do that, along with the help of Councillor Durkee and others.
one of the things that can be done, I don't know, I mean, I know you've all in your budget and things like that, but I learned last year that, I was trying to mention all our other beaches, as you just mentioned. So Port Maitland Beach and Mavalette are the two main beaches that the province mentions because those are provincial parks. And they have proper signage and parking and bathroom facilities. But we have other beaches than that, but they don't have proper signage or parking. So the province won't recommend those beaches to their visitors because they want a certain level of quality. So those are things that we can do infrastructure-wise to ensure that we'll get more visitors to those places. So visitors from outside of Nova Scotia. So things like, Johns Cove and Falls Harbor Beach, there isn't really parking there, and there's not really signage there, and there's certainly no bathroom facilities. And I know those are super challenges, but unless we do those things, Tourism Nova Scotia isn't going to promote those beaches as destinations because the facilities aren't there for the visitors that they believe are going to come.
John's Cove Beach.
Yeah. Great.
Okay. Was there any further questions? If not, Neil, I only have a couple of comments and so on. During your presentation and so on, it's very, a lot of information. And I was just wondering, I know you make presentations and so on. Have you ever requested to make a presentation to the Chamber of Commerce?
Nope. I don't actually enjoy doing presentations, but I will. And so I do it begrudgingly. But I think that's a great idea. And actually, where Rick's there now, I think it would be a good partnership. So
I believe so because you have a lot of business people that may be at those meetings. So it'd be interesting for them to see what some of the other businesses may be doing, and they think, well, maybe I can tag in there, or it might be very helpful in that respect. So I kind of recommend that you approach them and so on and see if you could.
One of the things we're doing, Tourism Week is actually the last week of May.
Yes.
So we're going to be doing some training sessions or just some promotion of the tourism industry. We're going to do some, I'm going to be doing a presentation at the Rod Grand on our new experiences, kind of the same thing, just more experience-wise, so that all the operators know that there's new experiences and what's happening and how to book them and how to recommend them. And I'm going to be partnering. I'm already talking to the Chamber of Commerce on partnering with that, so we're going to try to do some stuff together to kind of partner on Tourism Week because obviously there's an overlap there. So yeah.
Well, I guess what I'm looking at is if the Tuscan Island Tours wasn't willing to partner with somebody and somebody wasn't willing to partner, would you probably have a Yarmouth Harbor Tours? Not likely. Well, if Wayne and Teresa are doing something along that line with them, the two of them come together and they make an experience. And I know from past, an experience, I take that somewhere and I tell somebody, and somebody else comes back and so on.
Right.
So if I made my last comment that I want to make was, you stated last Wednesday, the tour ship that was in, and it was loaded with a lot of tour operators and so on. And as everybody came off, there was myself, Jim McLeod from the town, and Danny Muse, the deputy warden from Argyle, was there. And we handed out our pins and our cards, and we talked. And there was a little bit of a gap in between each boatload of people that was coming in on the Zodiacs. And so on. So we had the opportunity to talk. As you stated, we're going to get some lobsters. What is there to see? Where can I go? And so on. And we tried to told people right from Mearns. There was also, we call it like Bobby Newell's Lobster Pound and so on. There's that kind of stuff all the way up through. And I noticed before I left, there was people walking back from down that end of the town. And I thought it was, really good. They took what we were asking them and telling them. Anyway, handing out the cards and so on, that was around 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning. And at 2:40, I received an email. Dear Leland, Don and I want to thank you for the truly warm welcome to Yarmouth and to Nova Scotia today. We enjoyed it immensely. I'm confident all of the other visitors felt the same way. Janice Wade and Don Koch, they were two travel agencies. So from our meeting them, what they done, they planted a seed in their head. Now, if they can get two people from the U.S. or whatever to come here, hey, job well done,
Right.
and so on. And I thought that the way it was organized was really good. The coming in through customs security and so on. The only thing, it was a little breezy, but that wasn't a major thing. If you could have some small, as I mentioned, fish type
Yeah.
things and so on, because that was a question they were asking, as you stated, and so on.
I think we're gonna have a, just for your information, we're having a meeting today, actually town hall, to debrief. I don't know if you were attending or not, but to debrief on all the things that went on, what worked, what we could do better. Some of the things I recognized right away too is that we could probably have more tents there and actually have some seating, so that when people are waiting to get on the
Yes.
bus or to come back, there's more seating. I think
Yeah.
some kind of a food or small bite or takeaway, I think is a great idea. I thought the way it worked pretty well. I don't know if Greg had any comments on how security-wise or how the process worked, but they seemed to land pretty properly, and everyone got out of the boats
Yes.
without any issues
Yeah.
and got back in. So
Yeah.
they seemed to be able to do that pretty well.
Yeah,
so,
it was.
yeah.
Go ahead and, no, hit your button again. Go ahead.
Just a comment, Neil. You said you don't like presentations, but I'm going to tell you, you are a great
Presenter.
presenter, yeah, and very professional. You know how to put it out.
Thank you.
And my one last comment, thank you, take it back to your staff and so on a job well done, and
I
so
will,
on.
yep.
And hopefully you are so busy this summer that you don't have time to do anything, but
I feel
tourism.
I feel extremely busy right now, and I don't have time to get everything done. So yeah, I feel that way.
And Derek, thanks you. You cut into 20 minutes of
Okay,
his time.
you're welcome, Derek.
Okay. Again, Neil, thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Morning.
Morning. I guess I'll just start off briefly again, as we meet pretty much regularly monthly with reports, and most everyone's pretty much on top of what's going on for capital projects and things throughout the year through budgetary. So I'll just touch on a few things and then maybe just open the floor up for some questions if anyone wants some more updates. Overall, as everybody's privy to our fiscals and our financials, our operational budgets this year in public works were pretty much on target. We had our winter budget was pretty soft this year just due to the lack of snow. Again, that helped us on salt purchases and machine times and things like that, fuel costs especially.
Not to interrupt you there, did I detect a little bit of sadness when you said there wasn't a lot of snow?
I don't think so. We completed Phase 3 Hebron sidewalk project. That was one that took up quite a bit of the construction season, but it did get completed, and it's on to mowing and maintaining it now. The lighthouse work was completed this year, which basically we fared the winter good with it as far as all the construction and stuff that taken place. We have some touch-ups that we're going to do with our own staff this summer around the building itself, and move on from there. In Dayton, we did the LS1 upgrade, the pump station upgrade there with some suction lift pumps. We put those in place mid-May through the winter, and again, as far as no snow, but as far as rain, wind, and actually a solid 24 hours that we could get in there and do the actual changeover, which we actually did last week. I'm sure some of you might have been caught in the traffic congestion there, but it did take us 24 hours straight to get her done, but we are tied over from the old system back into the town with the new system. Now it's just a matter of some inside work on this Friday they're going to do, and after that we're pretty much going to wrap that up. We're still working diligently with Construction Safety Nova Scotia for the municipality to reach their safety core certification. We're midway, halfway through that in that process. That's going along slowly. A lot of we're down to doing a lot of our hazard assessment inspections and things on all of our properties and our pump stations, and pretty much everything that we work around and at. We're presently in the works of hiring staffing as well. That's ongoing as we speak. Again, the Lighthouse movie set, that seems to be winding down now. Their next move there would be tidying up, which most of it has been done on the Lighthouse property itself. The trail itself, some work has been done in the last few days. Once they remove a lot of the structures that's there, and we get a better visual of where the structure's set, then that cleanup will go forward probably in the next, pretty steady, I would say, by the end of this week and next, as long as the weather cooperates for us. But the remediation side of it, as far as getting things to grow back and things like that, it's going to take a little time, a little bit of patience, I guess, by everybody. The outlook this year, basically projects that we'll be concentrating on. We've got some business park projects that's going to be undertaken down there and moving forward with some progress in there. We've got some sidewalk upgrade projects that we're looking at. We got the Public Works building projects that's continuing as we speak in that process. Basically, going forward, a lot of our time basically now is going to be spent creating a framework towards asset management with our existing infrastructure and new coming down. Again, that's going to take, it's a process which will take some time, but as we all aware, it's going to be part of a lot of the funding process going forward and how we approach the building or repairing of existing stuff that we have. Other than that, we're pretty busy as usual. Coming into the summer season now. Again, a lot of upgrades to winter damage as far as around sidewalks and stuff is what we're concentrating on right now, but we've actually started mowing in the last couple days, so once we start, that becomes pretty steady. So other than that, maybe I'll just open it up, see if there's any questions anybody has.
Is there any questions from, go ahead, Councillor Allen.
Thanks, Derek. I've asked this before, and it kind of got put aside, but the boat launch out in, is there anything we can do out there just to clean it up generally, maybe weed out a few of the trees or?
The Moods Mill one?
Yeah. Has anything ever been done? Did we ever get at that at all?
We've been out once and kind of just picked up around some dead limbs and stuff like that and looked at it. I'm trying to get, it's on the radar
Okay.
soon here too. I've looked at the other one down here, had some conversations last week in regards to the one here near Milo. There were some issues with some access to it last week. And I've made some preliminary discussions with a couple contractors in regards to trying to handle that tight, unique little space that's there, but and what we can do to try to basically, yeah, that one down here needs to be fixed up with some materials.
Yeah.
And get a base put into it and try to kind of control the access and allow the access, but yet not hamper any adjacent landowners' issues too.
Yeah.
The Moods Mill one, yes, we can get out there and cut the undergrowth and stuff on that one. That's our intent. I think now with what we cleaned up, a little bit of it, we can, looking at it, we can put the bush hog machine in it.
Okay.
And cut a lot of the small stuff down. And then we can just hand cut the big stuff around it to open it up.
Super. Okay. Thanks, Derek.
No, it is on the radar.
Councillor LeBlanc.
A couple of weeks ago, there was a mention of the park, of the industrial park there, that the signage wasn't really good. You know, is anything being done, or is anything in the plans?
Yeah, we met with transportation just a couple weeks ago in regards to placement of the park information sign, which lists the businesses that's in there and which lots they're on. Right. We have that sign is made, it's there. We met with DOT as far as replacing it from where it originally was. They wanted a little further back, so that should be going up any day.
Okay.
That, as far as the information sign goes. Right. And I know Mark's also working on an actual banner sign, I'll call it, as far as the advertising the park itself. I know he's working on it, but the information panel for lots and things, that is ready to go. So,
thank you.
Is there any further questions? Well, we can bring Neil back if we want.
So you guys are all still daydreaming about his presentation there.
Derek, Derek, if there's no further questions, just a couple of comments and so on. As you mentioned almost to start with about the amount of snow and so on, that's great. It's a savings for the municipality, but I've noticed that the grass seemed to start growing a little sooner and so on in that respect. So I'm going to ask you're all up to speed with all the equipment and so on for handling that issue.
Yeah,
and so on.
we've just moved some machines around. We surplused three old mowers this week, and for basically retrieved a new one for the park that they use for in around there. Everything seems to be up and going. We've got some new items in capital that we'd be working towards as far as machinery goes for winter maintenance and things. So, but no, we seem to be on course with that.
Okay. Just to give, well, I know where my fellow councillors are we're eager to move forward with over the next 2 years on doing some things. And as Councillor LeBlanc stated, the Hebron Industrial Park, that'll be one area that we're going to be enthused about trying to do some stuff out there. And I know with through the CAOs, the interim CAO and Greg, and the new CAO and yourself, I'm hoping that we can start and see some things out there. I think that is one of our main thoughts. The other one that I know we've been working on and we're doing our due diligence there is our Public Works building and so on. And I know there's going to be a report coming up soon on that and so on. I think your staff has been doing an excellent job. The municipality is in fair shape, sidewalks, our wastewater system and so on. I know one of our employees left and went with the town, so I know you're in the process of now training somebody else again, are we? And so
yes, that's correct.
Yeah. And that's moving forward pretty good.
Yep, and then we're in process of hiring another assistant to work in the field too, is with us, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I know wastewater is an important issue. Like you say, you just done lift station number 1 and so on. That lift station would have been, I'm trying to think, what, around 20 years old?
Actually, closer to 30.
How old?
Closer to 30 years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, that station. So basically with the existing infrastructure was in there, and to try to upgrade that while still maintaining controlled flows out of the Hebron system would have been a bit of a challenge. So looking at the pump chamber system that we have there now allowed us to build a system, and then while the other system was maintaining, and then shut down and do it just do a 24-hour changeover, right? Allowed us to get over that.
So any wastewater management system that is put in now, I know that it's the new pump set or the new pump style of system is above ground and so on. That would be that's what you would do nowadays, I assume, in a design. You wouldn't go into the old system.
If it warrants that design, a lot of it has to do with your depths of your pump station for the pump head and flows and things.
Okay.
Now there's some like our Arcadia system that wouldn't work on our LS1 because that's a pressure system all the way to the town.
Yes,
right. So the submersible pump system is what gives you the force that you need to drive that. So, but it is another option that a lot of different systems are looking at. What it does, it also takes away the safety factor. Is confined space, typical confined space entry. You need 3 staff members. Your gas detection, that kind of thing. This type of system, you can send one person out in the middle at nighttime on an emergency call. You can pull an impeller, have another impeller to go in and go back and deal with it the next day, or you can repair it above ground that night with one person if it warrants, right? So it does lead to staffing help and on-call stuff like that too, right? Over the long period, right?
Okay. Well, on any of our new ones or any of our wastewater management areas, maybe it's something to look at in the future, eh?
It tends to be, again, for the ease of maintenance, and if it works as far as design capacity goes, they are pretty efficient that way.
Okay. Other than that, I guess, Derek, thank you to you and your staff. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Councillor Durkee, go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, Derek, I want to thank you for all your support with the Lighthouse movie. Sean highly complimenting you on everything that you did to see this forward, and I know that they were extremely pleased with how well everything went. Just a quick question for me, is the fence at the top of the hill, I know that's been delayed because of the, you know, the whole movie
security,
issue,
yeah,
but is that coming soon?
It's,
To a theater near you? No.
Yeah, I made another call yesterday to try to have an update on that today. I spoke with them last week and let them know that the movie, that yesterday was the go day for them to get down here. He's told me they would be. I called yesterday to get an update, and he said, I'll call you back on that. I know they were having some issues with getting some of the pieces to the fence shipped in. That's what it, so I'm hoping but I told him he's got, like, this week and next week is his 2-week window to get that done. So,
Oh, wonderful.
yeah, it's
Okay.
Eastern Fence has got another project for us for marking the tower out there too. So they're both combined at the same time. So I'm hoping I'm hoping I'll hear today that
Yeah.
they're coming tomorrow.
That would be great.
That's where I'm at. But yeah,
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Again, Derek, thank you to you and your staff for the job well done and so on.
thank you.
Thank you. Item number 5 is the annual report by the warden on activities of the municipality. I do have a memory and so on, but my paperwork is sitting on the kitchen table. I had to leave early this morning, so my report is there. But I will get you that report and so on for the municipality. I just wanted to, I jotted down a couple of things here, and I don't want to belate our time and so on. In my report, basically pertains to solid waste, plastic bag issues and so on, and how solid waste has been working. Again, on our public works building that we've been, the committee has been working on and so on. The sidewalks, as Derek has mentioned, especially on Route 340. The industrial park, again, also with Webcom and how we're moving forward on that. The Western Wrens, what they've been up to and so on, the LOC committee and so on. We will be looking, or they've put out an ad already for a replacement worker, one that is leaving their employment. The airport, where we're moving forward on that. The new interim manager at this time, as we're all well aware, is Alain Muse from the CAO for Argyle. Moving on that. Our meetings with both the MLA, Zach Churchill, and our MP, Colin Fraser, the discussions we had with them and so on. I believe we also have a meeting coming up real soon again with our MP. I think the date hasn't been set yet, has it? I keep looking at it was the 15th or 17th, wasn't it? Yeah. No, I don't, yeah. 16th, okay. I just wanted to let you know that over the past year that I had met with Ken, not on a daily basis, but there would be days when, yes, we would meet on a daily basis and so on. If you don't believe me, ask Greg, because I meet with him quite often. And so as filling in as the interim CAO. So I try to stay very abreast of all the things that are going on in the municipality, whether it's, you know, one of the lawnmowers has to be replaced, or et cetera, you know, anything that's been going on. And Greg has been very, very good at keeping me abreast of anything. Matter of fact, we met this morning for 10 minutes just to go over some issues and so on. As you all were well aware, that August was a change for me and so on, and I just wanted to be able to take the opportunity while we're here now to thank you, all my fellow councillors, for filling in, the Deputy Warden, Gerard, Daniel, Lauren, Trevor, and Patty for some of the meetings and so on that I couldn't make and so on. I appreciate that very much. The other issue that is ongoing, and the Deputy Warden knows this, along with Councillor Cushion, as my fellow councillors also, cannabis is still an issue. Well, I shouldn't call it an issue. It is something that we're dealing with, and it is going to be something that we're going to be dealing with. It's for a while to find out all the policies, bylaws, and exactly what the province is going to do and what the federal government's going to do. We do know that they're going to legalize it. And so that's, I just wanted to give you some of the things in my report. It's only a 32-page report that I have for you, so no, lying. Pardon me? Yeah. On that note then, councillors, item number 6 is annual reports. You have those in your package and so on. What is your wishes for the annual reports? I believe we should have a motion to accept the annual reports, but was there any questions that anybody had on any of them from the development down through and so on? I see the Deputy Warden, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. As per my usual schedule, I give out a verbal report for the PAC committee, so if you would like me
Yep,
to do it
you're
at
free.
this time,
Go
I
ahead.
certainly can.
Go ahead.
This year, 2018 has not been a very busy year for the PAC committee. Our rezoning requests have dropped by half over the previous year from 4 to 2. So what you're going to hear is only the 2 that I have. So on April 18th, 2017, we reviewed and approved a bylaw amendment for the request of Kara and Stephen Jeffrey from rural development to rural commercial for an equestrian riding, training, and exercising facility. We also reviewed the natural shoreline protection info that's given out to all the different people in the municipality, which includes contractors, solicitors, realtors, and brochures for Be Aware before clearing land. As we all know that in the municipality, at least as long as I've been a councillor for District 1, that shoreline protection has been a very large issue throughout the municipality district of Yarmouth. So those information letters were handed out to, like I said, the contractors, solicitors, and realtors to make sure that everyone's informed whenever they decide that they would like to possibly modify the shoreline and the do's and don'ts. One thing that should be noted, these are only suggestions. These are not laws that can be currently charged in any a court, but we are doing certainly our best that we can do. And I do know that I've talked to a contractor out in the Carlton area who was working around a lakeshore, and actually he had one of those brochures, Be Aware Before Clearing Land, in his excavator. So I do know that the information is getting out to the people out in the municipality. Also on May 16th, the meeting was canceled. June the 20th, 2017, we discussed and recommended to council lands on the Hardscratch Road owned by Graham Construction for rezoning from rural development to rural commercial. This was a 10-acre parcel of land where Sawgate now sits and operates. So that area over on the Hardscratch Road is seems to be one of the hot areas for changing the zoning from rural development to rural commercial. From July the 15th until April the 17th, July 15th, 2017 till April 17th, 2018, we had no other PAC meetings due to the lack of agenda items. However, with that said, there was an email sent out by our warden requesting that we look at tiny house subdivisions. Currently, our municipal planning strategy and land use bylaws do accommodate that. However, when we do have another planning advisory committee meeting, that is one of the first items that's going to be on the list, and Roger Devine has made up an information letter for the PAC committee, which will be forwarded to council on what our current bylaws allow and do not allow, because also we all have a lot of questions in regards to power, septic, and what exactly is a tiny home. One thing that I didn't know at the time when I was talking to a development officer was that, did you know that you could use a shipping container as a tiny home? So we actually have provisions in our MPS and land use bylaws for those. Those may or may not have to be modified, but as soon as we get the information letter from Roger, then council and or the PAC could make recommendations to possibly change or modify that. Also, the last thing that we were looking at is the instrument of subdivision. Those changes have not come to the PAC committee at this time because we were waiting for engineering reports on road construction and how they should be built. I do know that that information is almost complete. I was talking to Brad Fulton about a month ago, and he said there's a few loose ends that they have to tie up, and we're going to be in the very near future going over the instrument of subdivision and subdivision bylaws. So that's something that's coming, that we have not worked on that. And also, last but not least, we had a PAC member hand in her resignation, Lori Grimshaw, and we also, council had appointed a new PAC member. His name is Don Smith. As soon as we have a next PAC meeting, we're looking forward to having him join our group. So that's my report, Mr. Chair. Any questions from council?
very much.
Please direct them to me.
Councillor LeBlanc?
Yes, I'm going to go to the joint EMO. The day that John was going on vacation, him and I went to Argyle, and there was a meeting there on the joint EMO. As you probably already know, we're in with the town, but this would, and then the chairman is leaving, or the manager, EMO, and we had quite a meeting from a lady from Lunenburg, I believe. John, please help me there. But she gave a presentation of 5 districts that are under her. And the way that she explains, it was very good, the way that things are run. And hopefully that we can get ourselves in a joint EMO here with the 3 municipalities, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe John can add to that what was said. Thank you.
Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. One thing that this lady from Lunenburg noted, and I do not remember her name. I have a lot better time remembering names when they're on my shirt rather than trying to remember them out loud, but I do remember her face. Anyway, she pointed out to, in her presentation, that disasters know no borders. As the warden can certainly remember in his, I think it was 2009 or 2010, when we had that large flood when they were building the Rennerton Dam. We all may remember that there was an issue that dam may burst because they had a temporary dam up on Reynolds Lake and or Big Carlton Lake, whatever one you want to call it. They had a temporary structure there, and it was very close to going over the top. So if that went over the top and broke the dam, that means that people downstream, which are just so happens the boundary line of that river separates the municipality district of Yarmouth and municipality district of Argyle, and that disaster would know no borders. And I do think that it's something that we should be looking at. There wasn't an agreement to move forward. I do know council did meet, which I was not here, but I believe the acting CAO was going to get some more information to where we should move forward with that, and until such time we'll move forward if we so wish. But I think it's a good idea. We always have in our minds about shared services, and that's a service that I think that could be better utilized with a larger group.
Okay. Thank you very much. Was there anybody else that had any reports? If not, I'm gonna to Liz. I just need one motion. Can we to accept all the reports as presented? Or is it just one? Can I have a motion to do so? Okay. Been moved by Lauren, seconded by Gerard. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you. Item number 7 is business 7.1. Approval of the temporary borrowing resolution for 2018-2019. You have that in your package, and the person or the councillor that always seemed to want to do that one is Councillor Trevor Cunningham. He's done it over the last number of years. So if you want any information pertaining to that, Greg can bring you up to speed on that.
Yes, items number 7, 1 and 2 are basically housekeeping items, and they're procedural items that we undertake every year at the annual meeting, just to reaffirm number 1, or make sure we still have in place our temporary borrowing resolution, and then also appointment of some professional agents that we use each year in the normal course of business. So usually what we'd recommend is that someone make a motion to approve the temporary borrowing resolution. Again, for this year, it's at $750,000. It's meant to be a draw, to give us authorization to draw emergent funds on a credit basis from our financial institution in the event of an emergency. It's never been used since I've been here on staff, but I mean, it's an important document to have in place. So I'd recommend that the approval of that resolution take place, and then following that, we should just appoint our auditors and engineers and our solicitor.
Go ahead, Councillor Durkee.
I'll make a motion to approve the temporary borrowing resolution for 2018 and 2019
Can you put the amount, please?
of $750,000.
Thank you. Been moved by Councillor Durkee, seconded by Councillor Cushion. Any questions? None? Question being called. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded. Motion carried. Thank you. 7.2, appointment of 7.2.1. The first one, auditors, over the last number of years, has been Grant Thornton. Has been the auditors. What is the wishes of council?
Just for a little bit of background on that one, just to remind you that we did just enter into a 3-year agreement with Grant Thornton.
Yeah. Yeah. So go ahead.
So I guess my question is through you, Mr. Chair, to the Deputy CAO. Do we need a motion to accept something, or to approve or appoint Grant Thornton as our auditors?
I've wondered that myself. I think it's a bit academic where we just entered into a 3-year agreement, but I don't think it hurts either to have on the record just reaffirming the appointment of them.
All right, then I'll make a motion that we appoint Grant Thornton for 3 years as our auditors.
Been moved by Deputy Warden Cunningham, seconded by Councillor Daniel Allen. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded. Motion carried. Thank you. The engineers, what is the wishes? And go ahead. Who, I can't remember
So,
that.
a similar thing, just
Yep.
business as usual with EXP services.
Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I make a motion that we appoint EXP Engineering Firm for the 2018-2019 fiscal year.
Been moved by Deputy Warden, seconded by Councillor Durkee. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you. 7.2.3, solicitors. Yeah, it would be Nickerson Jackford?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Been moved by Councillor Cushion, seconded by Deputy Warden. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you very much. And 7.2.4, municipal crier, who is David Oley. What is the wishes of council? Moved by Councillor Durkee, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you. 7.3, Remo. You had that in your package also, 7.3.1, 7.3.2, 7.3.3. An agreement, a model agreement that is, as Councillor LeBlanc's already stated, from on the South Shore, from Lunenburg, Chester, Bridgewater, in the town of Mahone Bay, I believe, was also in there. Pardon me, you had then there is an EMO organizational structure. You'll see that is from one of the groups in that area. And then the REOC quick guide. I don't know if councillors want to discuss that at this time, go into the details of that. I know it's stated that Councillor LeBlanc and Councillor Cunningham, or Deputy Warden Cunningham, had gone to that meeting. I don't know if you can give us any more update or...
No, Mr. Chair, I'd make a suggestion that we move this to our next committee of the whole meeting for review and discussion, because I do not know if there's going to be a committee set up at this time, but if there is, at least we should all discuss it at the same time, and whoever is appointed can can bring that information back to whenever they hold the first meeting in regards to this, even if, and I suppose we could even decide if we wanted to move forward. I personally think it's a good thing, but however, the rest of the councilors may differ from what my feelings are on this subject. So I believe that we should move this to the committee of the whole for further discussion.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask the question, and so June is all right to wait, I guess. I assume it is.
I would assume so.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, there's been not a lot of discussion since that original meeting a few weeks ago. The lady that presented was Heather McKinsey Corey, by the way, from the Lunenburg district, and she has since then sent this information down to have a look for us to consider. I think in principle it makes sense. Of course, there's a lot of details to work out. I've sent back a couple questions to the deputy clerk at Argyle, who seems to be quarterbacking some of the legwork and paperwork with the notion. So they did ask that we appoint. They set up an advisory committee and appoint 2 representatives, 2 counselors on that committee to move forward. But as far as I know, there's been no further discussion since the information's been submitted from Lunenburg for consideration. So I think tabling it's probably a safe thing to do. There is a little bit of urgency in the sense that the our present EMO chairman has been given his resignation papers effective September of this year. So there will be a changeover we need to manage. But other than that, I think it's probably safe to leave it till June. I'm sure Chris at Argyle will prompt us for the next round of discussions. In the meantime, we should be looking at the information and considering it and thinking about, the selection of our 2 appointees.
Okay. You're all fine with that then? Okay. Okay. 7.4, summer meeting schedule. And we usually take, is it July or August? July. So July 12th, a regular council meeting.
That was last year's.
Yeah. Yeah. And then in August 9th, we had a regular council meeting. And meetings were reduced from 2 in the month of July and August to 1. So we went from committee of the whole meetings to regular council meetings in July and August. So you're all fine with just dropping to 1 meeting in July and August and so on. If there is anything special, I mean, we always have, you can always call a special council meeting and so on, or anything that comes up. It's okay. Those, I'm trying to think, were they daytime or evening meetings? Do you remember, Liz? I can go back into, I'm not sure. I can go back here. Yeah. Okay, the July meeting was an evening meeting. The July meeting was evening. August. And the August meeting was an evening meeting. I have been here, it's evening meetings. So you want to do, okay, evening meetings? Okay, so you'll schedule those. Okay. Yeah, yes, yep. Yes, just a second. Oh, I'm pulling out July. Be July 11th. Yep. July and August 8th. And those are evening meetings. Yes. Okay. last year. Okay. Okay, being no further business of council, of the AGM, I would ask for a motion for adjournment, please. Moved by Gerard, do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Cushion. Thank you muchly.